ONYXCON Foundation, head of the Monetization Nation. That be you. That be you. Y'all my Monetization Nation, my real ONYXCON support tribe, my people who put it down, people who come around, my people who watch content, my people who like content, my people who share content, my people who care about this content. Thank you so much, each and every last one of y'all. Told y'all yesterday, we are so close to getting, we're gonna mess around and get another 1,000 for this New Year's up. For this New Year come in, I'm trying to tell you, I think we're gonna mess around. I think we can do it, y'all. I believe in us. I think it's possible the way y'all showing these number love. These numbers are getting love, man. I'm getting all this love on shorts. I'm getting all this love on every time I go live. I'm appreciating the appreciation. I see y'all. I feel it. I thank y'all. You know, yeah. Y'all coming correct, man. The way we ought to be about it. And I appreciate it. I just want y'all to know. I always let y'all know every time I go live, I see the progress, because every day is another day, another step. Every time y'all like, every time y'all subscribe, do you understand you putting the footprint in for me to know that what I'm trying to do, not trying to do, what I'm doing, ain't no trying. What Yoda say? You know the quote now. Yoda told y'all, forever and a day, Yoda told you, he said, hey, there is no try. Only do or do not. And damn it, we doing. You understand? We are doing. Up in here, we doing things. Whew. So I got one for y'all, right? And I'm gonna get it out hopefully in the next 10 minutes. I'm gonna try and wean myself and stay focused and not tangent too much as I break this one down. And then I'm gonna start a whole bunch of other lives throughout the day. But this one I'm gonna focus on a particular topic, because there was a gentleman that hit up a topic that I reposted about. I did a reaction video, and it was a member of the famous group ONYXCON. If you don't know about ONYXCON, look up ONYXCON, X-Clan, C-L-A-N. Legendary hip hop group from the 90s into the 2000s, especially they were big in the 90s though. ONYXCON was a militant, Pan-Africanist, Afrocentric, just trying to make sure I hit all the right words. Yeah, that was their thing, right? And if you want to call something a gimmick, it really wasn't. So it was gimmicky, but it was really who they were and who they are to this day, the remaining members, because some of them have transitioned. Respect due to all who did. Okay, but they were something to behold, man. When they came out strong. They used, you know, the unfadable samples, the stuff that always wins, you know, Parliament and other funk tracks they used as samples, and it was hard hitting and it was great production. And then they had lyrics, they had voice, they had a presence, right? They always spoke of Black Power in the sense of pride in oneself, knowing who the hell you are, knowing where we, as if you are of direct African descent. These are the terms I use to define things. And we're gonna get more into that importantly as I continue to make my biggest point here. So in the video, you gotta watch it for yourself. Watch it. It's one of my newest shorts. It's got to be in the top 10, shorts that I've just put out, because it hit thousands, I think, on views. And I'm just nodding along to what's being said, because the brother was saying how the importance of the drum, any form of drum and instrumentation coming out of the continent of Africa, and how important it was to the zillions of people, okay, the multitude of cultural groups. Every cultural group on the continent has a form of percussion. That could almost pretty much factually be said. There are different types of drums. See, a lot of people have these fantasies about Africa, that, like, when they see a djembe drum, if you know what a djembe is, D-J-E-M-B-E, okay, when you see a djembe drum, a lot of people think, oh yeah, that's, you know, they think of that. They think of the Joom Joom system, which is part of that system with the djembe. And actually, I always tell people a great deal of American black music is owed to that system in terms of the rhythmic cadences that we love so much and we cherish, and that a lot of our music based on. In addition to the Congolese systems, but a lot of the Congolese systems were more prevalent with the groups that were taken into South America, parts of Central America and the Caribbean. And it's not to say that anybody from those regions were not brought or were not already here, because here's the argument that's going to be a big thing here. That people from Africa, original Africans, original human beings. Yes, all human life started on the continent of Africa. That I will not ever stand off of. I will forever stand in it. I will forever salute it. I will forever respect it. I will ever, ever, ever acknowledge and reference the facts that make that true. For some people, and if you know enough about history and various forms of supremacy, notice I'm saying various forms, because there's definitely white supremacy, but guess what? There's also a thing that I'm going to label black supremacy. There's Asian supremacy. Those are the constructs, right? When you talk about race, black, white, red, yellow, all those are constructs that were created during the time when the transatlantic slave trade was first founded. And this would be the 1500s. But there were prior slave trades in Africa. There were slave systems amongst Africans with each other. Now, a lot of people who are Afrocentrics can't stand to hear what I just said. Oh, that pisses them off. They want to have the fantasy that Africans woke up every morning, kissed each other, went out and did their life, worked, hunted, gathered, had markets, celebrations, constant parties. Everybody ate good, everybody felt good, everybody loved their neighbor, everybody understood we're all cousins and brothers and sisters on a massive continent, and they want to pretend there was only one name that named the entire continent. Some of them say Alkebulan, which is a beautiful word, and I love that word, okay? The garden of life, if you will, the original Garden of Eden, Alkebulan. I love that word, right? There's Kemet, which mostly refers to Egypt. Modern day Egypt is what Kemet was. Right? But some Afrocentrics want to say, oh, that's all they say Africa, and they mean Kemet, and they say Kemet like Africa. It's specific to a region, people. It's specific to a region. Not everybody on the continent to this day, and never to this day, all the way back, knew that word per se. Per se. Per se. There's so many languages, and it's such an ignorant way to go about it, to pretend everybody spoke one language, and that everybody, like, I can remember when I was growing up and first found out about Swahili. Because it was a trade, it was and is a trade language that is an active language still. It is very active. You go to, I haven't been, but I know Kenyans, and I've spoken to Kenyans, and I know that in Kenya, that is a major language. All over the entire eastern side of Africa, Swahili is a common trade language. Trade. Why do you have to stress the word trade? Because that's how people gain wealth a lot of times, even in modern day, but especially in ancient times. So people would learn a common language so that no matter what other languages I speak, if I speak 2 or 3 other languages and you do too, and we don't know each other's other 3 languages, we do know that one. We know some Swahili over here in this region. Okay, in the Eastern Horn, all the way from the Horn of Africa to Kenya, and even surrounding everything that borders Kenya, you might hear some Swahili. It may be common, okay? So, and especially on the coastal regions, because wherever there's water, there's people. People have to have water to live. So everywhere to this day where people are, they've either created a system of water, they've created reservoirs, dams, created stuff where they, just like in the state of Georgia, Army Corps of Engineers created every single lake in this state. I'm talking about the major lakes. I ain't talking about some big pond, minor reservoir. You could say even minor reservoir. It wasn't necessarily the Army Corps of Engineers that did those, but the major lakes, West Point, Lake Lanier, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I say all those things about modern times to explain how, if you understand that, all you gotta do is look at the world and say, okay, there was ocean there, that was coastal. So yeah, those people definitely mixed with other people. Because if you're doing trade with somebody, just at your job, if there's a fine lady who work in another department, fellas, okay, and you see her every day, and you single, hopefully you single, so that you can keep down the drama and not be out here creating the issues that, right. But I'm saying you single, she's single, and you're like, man, I just gotta holler at her, man. Somebody in your department be like, man, she from another department. They don't even talk to us, man. Yeah, whatever, but I'm gonna talk to her. And you holler at her, and she thinks you're funny. You know what they say? You make up laugh, boy. You might be in there. Y'all start building. Mess around, you got a relationship outside the job. Same thing happened in an ancient sense, man. People working in port areas and trade areas. So people mixed is my point. People got together. You know, the people who came from China into Africa, yes, in ancient times, people could have mixed. Just giving you examples of how shit worked. Middle Eastern groups, definitely, always been a cross trade going on. Always been a fusion of whether it was in warfare or in love. Whether in warfare or in love. You can add that phrase to damn near every human interaction. Whether in warfare or in love. Or just straight up business. If you don't want to, make it all romantic. Sometimes it's just business. But we cool. I like doing business with them, but that's where it ends. Okay, cool. But we cool though. Right? I like their stuff. They like our stuff. We got a thing. We doing this. We got this business. And the business is good. And that lasted for centuries with some of this, right? So that's the first thing. I'm going somewhere with this, right? I'm really going somewhere with this. How does this tie back to the drum? Well, people love to play music. People love music. People love to hear music. People love to dance. It is in us. It is one of the most powerful forms of the arts. Plural. You know how we are about the arts here. We are about that art life. This is ONYXCON. So in this post, that when this man said how important the drum was, and he explained, it was used in ceremony. It was used in every type of ceremony. But, marriages, funerals, warfare, trade, communication of trade, communication of alerts, communication of signals, for everything. Hey, we about to do this over here. It's time to go. Hey, the fish just came in. The fisherman just came back off the ocean. If you want your fish, come down. And it wasn't always just a drum. We used all kind of other instruments. The conch shell. The tradition of that is not new. It's very ancient. Turning a shell into a horn. It's one of the first horns that ever were. That you could have a whole band with what was ancient. So my point of why I'm talking about this. When that man said what he said about the drum, I loved it. So I reposted my reaction video to it. And I got one comment. And there was a cat up in there. I could only see his picture, a little small, avatar picture. I could tell there's a black guy. I went and look at, every time that happens, I go look at y'all pages. I like to see who's talking. And I can see, from what I perceive of the constructs, okay, he looked to be a black American man. A man living somewhere in America who's black. I'll just say it like that, because everybody, I'm not even that. Don't call me that. I don't know. Because they're doing all kinds of stuff nowadays. So I'm gonna say what I saw. What I think I saw, right? The brethren was like, cocoa complected, meaning, he brown, but he not like the darkest brown. He had locks. His hair looked like, and most of the times when I could see him with his hair, he has locks that were long, and he probably has them braided. He had somebody braid them up for him, and when he takes them out, he got the little wavy pattern to him naturally, because that's what happened. I know this because I know about hair. I never had locks, but I used to have long hair. I used to have an afro, and I used to love getting braids. And I know our hair textures and what they do. And notice I said textures, plural. There are many. But one thing about that many, and this is going to play into this next part. If you are of the majority of peoples who would identify as being of direct African descent, your hair tends to have certain curl patterns. I think there's like, what did they say? There's like, I forget how many numbers there are. There's like 6, 7, 8 different, wave patterns, curl pattern, whatever. And they say, like they say on average person's head, especially black folks in America, because of all the mixing and everything that we have in us, we have like 4, 5, 6 different patterns. Hold tight. All right. All right. All right, y'all. All right. So we have various textures, your hair texture depends on your genealogical makeup. You could be, oh gosh, these folks trying to mess the line up this morning. I don't know how they trying to do it, but we're gonna have to work it out because I was already here. Come on, y'all, get in line. Anyway, this is funny. This is hilarious, actually. Anyway, we're gonna talk. We're gonna keep talking this morning. So basically, if you look at the history of hair textures and how people have mixed and what varieties you get with the mixes and all that kind of stuff, there's just probability involved. And then with facial features, there's just probability involved when people mix. You know, if you have rounded features, if you have certain bulbous features, like your lips stick out, you have big full lips, you don't, I mean, you have small lips like I do, but even the shape of your lips, sometimes it harkens to your genealogical code, okay? And there's no escaping it. It's just like, it's just to the point when I've met people from the continent of Africa, if they are West African especially, they take one look. And this happened for years before I ever did a swab test. I did the swab test. Or I've had some done. I still need to do some more to get the full story, or enough of the story to feel confident I've got more or less the full story. Because you'll never know it all, but it's good to have something. So shout out to AfricanAncestry.com, the only Black-owned database that does swab tests that actually gives you specific African group names, not just you're this percent West African. I could have told you that. I don't need no percent. I want to know the name of the people, damn it. You know what I'm saying? So that's more important to me. So anyway, I did one of those, and I had my sister do one of those. So I know for a fact, okay, that I am of Balanta. I'm of the Bubi people, B-U-B-I, from Bioko Island. I am of the Takir people. I am of the Fulani and the Hausa. Now, when they said Fulani and Hausa, I could have fell out the chair reading that the first time, because so many West Africans would tell me when they meet me, that's what you are. Ain't no doubt about it, you Fulani. They'd always say Fulani. They never mentioned Hausa as much, but they always said Fulani. And hey, I'm with it. I just love to know that I look like some folk that I'm probably tied to. No, ain't no probably about it. You are, and I am. How about that? How about that, right? When I did the test and got it back. Now, this is factual evidence, right? I'm saying all this for a reason, because this brother in the comments that to me seemed like a black man, American black man, had issue with me agreeing with the X-Clan member saying that the drum meant so much and that we brought the drum with us and that we had to acknowledge our being African and acknowledge the drum as being something that is so African and blah, 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 blah. And he said, oh yeah, and we had our other drums too that were already here. This is what he says in the comment. That's not exact quote, but it's pretty much the words. You can read it. It's still up. I left it up. I wanted you to see it. I want everybody to see this to make my point. There's a growing sentiment among a new group, and they're not that new. They're new in the sense their numbers are growing, because this was not common. It wasn't something that everybody was talking about, especially young generation, 20-somethings, 30-something. Y'all wasn't even freaking here to have the previous debates of what black folk were. See, in my father's era, and he told me about this when I brought this up to him, we laugh about it all the time. We said, man, damn, here they go again. Just anything not to be from the continent. Just please don't tell me I'm African. That's all they concerned about. And if you do, I want to be from ancient Egypt, because I saw the Michael Jackson video for, do you remember the time when we fell in love? And if I can't look like that version, I don't want it. That's what they say. That's the truth of it. That's black Americans' problem, because of all the stress and trauma of poverty and slavery and things that folk went through in their families. They don't want no connection to nothing old and looking oldish and anything that might be rugged and rural. And they don't, a lot of them don't want that. Not everybody, but there's a grand big ass group that are like, man, if it don't look like I'm walking through the African version of a damn Macy's, then I don't want to say that's my heritage. That's how these people really are. They can say all they want to say about why and what. That is all it comes down to. And if you force them to say, well, you are from tribal groups, not necessarily huge kingdom groups, not to say you're not tied to those kingdom groups, because there's lineage, but you're more direct, you're closer to, you're quicker to acknowledge. It would behoove you to quickly acknowledge. You definitely have connection to these tribal groups from this place, that place. No, you said tribe and tribe, man, that's less, that's inferior. That's a European way of seeing it. That's a white supremacist way of seeing it. If as soon as you hear the word tribal in the English language with all the meanings it has, okay, that the first thing that comes to your mind is a negative connotation of lesser, less evolved, less sophisticated, less people, instead of people who understand and are in tune with the earth to the point they can heal themselves naturally. They can live off the land naturally. They will always tend to be anyway, if left alone. See, the problem, another thing with the versions of tribal and rural cultures that we've sometimes seen is we see the after result of colonization on those people. And yeah, that's not a pretty picture. It's no less pretty than it is seeing an urban group of people that have been brought down by drug infestations and addictions to, all types of drugs, all types of liquor, all types of every freaking thing. Yeah, I was about to say marijuana because yes, it is an addiction at this point with so many people. And you're not even using the original form of it. You're not growing your own. So it's chemically laced. It's GMO like a mofo. Yet you got all these super psychotically Afrocentric, some of them, as I like to call it, like I say, it's black supremacists, where they, yo, this is crazy. Hold on, y'all. People not moving and letting this truck through. So that's causing some friction out here this morning. But anyway, to make my point. Y'all stay calm, people. Y'all stay calm. I don't need y'all to act a fool while I'm on my live. I'm just trying to talk history. I can't go up no further. It's only this one person behind that other car that need to go forward, and the lady won't move. That's kind of goofy. I don't even know why she won't move. That's so stupid. Oh man, hold on. This is gonna mess up my live. I'm gonna have to come back and make my point, y'all, because I don't want to be in the middle of this mess with this going on behind me. And I'm gonna tie that into what I'm talking about. Everybody out here in this line this morning is someone of brown complexion, certain hairstyle, certain styles, textures, demographic, translation, quote unquote, often labeled African Americans, or original indigenous Americans and all this other shit that they want to be now. Holy shit. And there's the thing. There's the bottom point I'm getting to. I'm not somebody who's not aware that they came before Columbus, as the book is named, Ivan Van Sertima, his amazing research and his amazing life dedication to the topic of the presence of African peoples throughout the diaspora. The word is diaspora. That's the word I love, because it truly defines our pre-colonial and even after colonial expansion across the globe in numbers and heritage. And I always say people of direct African descent, because the truth is all people are of African descent. But when I speak of people who would identify under the construct of black, I do mean people of direct African descent who are often so traumatized with the disrespect and humiliation of what it is to be of African descent, and the lack of variety even in defining each other or yourself. People look in the mirror knowing they're mixed, knowing they have a lot going on. Or you may not have as much mix as you think you do, but your denial of the features and the variety of features on the continent because of what's been made available to you through sources that were often not your hands behind the camera, your hands on the pen or the pencil that drew the original etchings and drawings that Europeans did, or these people that depicted them half the time absolutely incorrectly, because they only knew how to draw their own stylized versions of their anatomy and then make these drawings to try and be like, and this is what the people look like. And they put some, if they got off somewhere where the people had feather adornment and beadery and loincloths of any kind of it, they do the same looking stupid shit on every drawing, and the only difference would be an indication of maybe certain distinct things that you'd be like, okay, they have that tattoo or that nose ring or that ear piercing or that facial what have you. Okay, that's the so-and-so people. Once you see a later, when photography became available, many, many years later, and the people still may have some of the same traditions, and say, oh, here we go. This is what they were trying to draw. All right, they did have scarification or tattoos or this, that, and they do wear those, and that is their culture and their tradition. But they didn't. That ain't how the person's nose looked. That ain't how their face looked. That ain't. Then you add in, again, the denial of factual time periods where people want to compare the way somebody, a mass of people look in a country in 2025 versus how they looked in 1400. It's like, it's same bloodlines, more or less. The bloodline advanced even more with more people involved. More got put in the gumbo. But you still got them roots. Them roots ain't going no damn way. Them roots is firm. Okay? To the point where if you met the people, like the people come up to me, like I told you, the woman, I'm thinking about a specific woman who said that, but there's been brothers, ladies, it don't matter. All kind of people from West Africa. You Fulani. Before I ever knew for sure. And sure as shit, I am. And I'm proud to be. Amongst everything else I am. I'm Balanta. Like, see, here's the thing about it, right? If you know anything about the groups I'm talking about, it's easy to see, oh yeah, he's Fulani. It's easy to see he's Hausa because some of the Hausa and some of the Fulani are fair complected. Some of them have, the complexion I have, the caramel, butterscotch, if you will. And it's wintertime now. Let it be summer. I can get darker than this, you know what I'm saying? But I'm never going to get as dark as, say, Wesley Snipes. I'm never going to be as dark as, say, it don't matter. And that's okay. I'm fine with my melanin range. I'm completely fine with it. Light or dark. I love it all. I love all of my look when I do all those things. I love that I can. I love that I have the range to expand and be different tones of brown. Some folks, they locked into one tone their whole life and they love themselves head to toe. And you should. The sickness is when you can't appreciate yourself, first of all, as a human being. And then when you're lying to yourself about your heritage to try and think that you want to tell me, these people that are on these extremes right now, these black supremacists that have a new form of black, they don't even want to be black. I get it for that being a construct. But I don't even fight that much on the word black because it's too ingrained. The constructs are so ingrained. Even they'll say black when they mad enough. With your black ass, I only want to hit you. And you'll be like, damn, I thought you said you don't use black. Oh, kiss my ass and don't get them real mad. They might drop the N-word. So it's so stupid to me the way we go back and forth about this when a lot of this stuff needs to be dismissed. You're not necessarily, in my opinion, here it is. For all y'all who claiming that you are the original indigenous peoples of the Americas, and I mean Americas, they are trying to say that from Canada all the way to the tip of South America, including the Caribbean, the Taino, the Arawak, they want to say that, they want to pretend all those people, nobody had straighter hair, nobody had certain features that are identified as, now in the islands, let me say, I've been to, first of all, I've met people who are if you go to any Caribbean nation then you're looking at the people through the other people that they mix with. You're looking at the Arawak, you're looking at the Taino through the people they mixed with. What was left of everything in that is still there, but it's not going to look exactly like it did in this fantasy these people have, where some dude in Atlanta that was born in Atlanta in Grady Hospital. I was not born in Grady, by the way. That's a stereotype of Atlanta. I'm just giving the stereotype to make my point, because most folk in Atlanta who black gonna say, oh, you a Grady baby. And that even cracks me. I'm like, why are you constantly why would you even jump to say Grady like there's not all these other hospitals? There's other hospitals where black folk were born. But you know why they do that? Because they assume all black people had the exact same financial strains. And I'm not from a rich family, but yeah, my dad had a good job and my mom had a decent job. We both of them had a good job. And yes, I was born in Piedmont Hospital in Buckhead on Peachtree. It don't get more Atlanta, right? Atlanta. No T in the no extra T, no more Atlanta, no less Atlanta than you being born out of Grady. But do you understand there are black folk that will literally I've said it in front of them, and they looked at me, you could tell, it's just a drop in their heart. So you think you better than me? No, Goofy, you think I'm better than you. I just told you where I was born, and you can't handle it. Because you want all black people to be born in a hospital that to you represents more Atlanta, because we was all poor, and that's where you could have a baby for less, and that's where we all had to come out, because that's what we did. That's where we all was. And that's the same mentality that's got some black folks saying, no, we would never, none of my people was on no slave ship, and they didn't have to go through that trauma, and none of them died and were thrown in the ocean, and they, show me the chains, show me the ships. They can't even prove where the ships are. What is you talking about? Oh, gosh. These people literally don't even believe, some of these people literally don't even believe the ships existed. I take it to the point, I'm like, okay, well, if you don't believe that there were ships that had cargo for human beings in the base, do you believe that there were pirates? Yeah, there was motherfucking pirates. Do you know that a lot of the pirates were involved in the slave trade too? Now it's messing up their perception of the ship, because they just think cannons on the side, bunch of guys with swords yelling about swashbuckling and big buckle belts and other European stuff mixed with other stuff they've encountered as they go to place to place to place, and looking like Pirates of the Caribbean with all kind of fucked up hair and messed up skin and jacked up teeth and scurvy but it's cool because this team's named after it, and I like them teams. See, this is how it messes your head up, because you're mixing two things you don't need to mix. You need to know the facts, and if you want the fantasy, sometimes enjoy the fantasy, but know it's a fantasy. You can be a fan of the Buccaneers, like I like the Buccaneers logo. I like pirate lore, but I never forget that some of them sons of bitches may have been the reason my ancestors got over here in the way they got over here. I said some of my ancestors, because I do still believe, and I know, in some cases believe, in other cases no. What's the difference? The difference is knowing you got facts that prove, ain't no doubt about it. I just told y'all I did the swab test, and I believe in what I got from that. Believe. There's no absolute proof, but you have conviction in it. So I did a test. What I sent off, I believe that a test was done, a true scientific test, and that the results I got were from a true database by people who have ethics and their reputation as a company online, on the line. And they would never want to betray that, because it would be one of the biggest class act. I mean, you're talking about Chadwick Boseman went through them, man, to get his results before he played Black Panther. Do you understand me? Do you understand me right now? Do you understand the class action suit that? Because I know that's the other part. I got to say this, because there's other black folk who will get mad and say, oh man, that stuff ain't true when you do them swab tests. I know somebody who did swab their dog's mouth and sent it off, and they gave them a result. I was like, first of all, who told you that? How high were they, and how high were you when they was telling you? I don't want to hear this dumb shit. I don't want to hear it. And if you say, and then I ask them, well, was that African ancestry? And they're like, I don't know what exactly. Sure as shit was not them. Don't do that. Don't do that. I can't vouch for what no other company would do. I know the one I paid, and I trusted in who I decided to get that done with. That's how I feel about that. Now, I tell you the truth on even that. I'm happy to know all of my African results, but I want the whole story. I want to know my European specifics. Because I know I got them. I mean, in some cases I know I have French Canadian. That's not a mystery in my family. But then there's a big mystery on the other side of my family. And in the native part, yes, native, Asiatic original root, Bering Strait crossing, those groups, the people that these new Afrocentrics are trying to erase and pretend, no, they didn't have no